Hey, Gary Guth here with BagpipeLessons.net. Somebody had watched a YouTube video that I did. I was playing Susan MacLeod, the Strasberg, you know that one? You know that one. And he said, "Oh, I like the way you play it, but I find the technique is really difficult." And he said, and he was basically asking me, what would I do to improve it? So what I did is there's some things in Susan MacLeod that are difficult for a lot of people. The first one is this one. That's the tackum. Then you have this burl over here with the G grace note in front of it, and then you have this. You have the fancy over here, the grip, a G grace note on B followed by a grip, and then this other sort of the Pibroch move and stuff. And so what I did is I created a prep sheet. So you can, down below, you can push a button, you can print out the prep sheet. And I also I copied the Susan MacLeod out of the Scots Guards Volume 2. So I'm using their version and stuff. But anyway, so the first thing that I think you should do, the tackum, the C doubling followed by the E grace note on the low A. I think that's a really important thing if you're playing a Strasberg. Okay, but I think you have to develop it. All right, so if you printed out my prep sheet here, the first measure, and what I've done is we're going to build this thing. So we're going to build it in steps, and I have a repeat sign with the number 20 over it. When you do repetitions, when you're practicing and learning to play the bagpipe, the most important thing that you should do in doing repetitions is that you should take the deepest possible breath that you can take and blow all the way out. You want to blow as many repetitions as you can blow in a full breath. Why? Because that'll ensure that you do enough repetitions to master the problem that you're working on. But the other thing is playing the bagpipe takes a lot of air, period, okay? And you develop the air on the practice chanter. The practice chanter is the tool to help you develop enough breath to be able to blow a set of bagpipes. All right, so the first problem we're solving is C to A. C to A. And so there's a potential problem when you go from C to A. C, I've got two ways that I can get to A. I could go C, G, A, and that low G now becomes a crossing noise. So I don't want that, okay? So if I'm in C position, I have to lift my pinky up like this and then put these two fingers down. So I've got this like arc looking thing going on. Okay, this is A, C, A, C, A, C, A. See what I'm doing? Back and forth. So you want to make sure you got the movement right first, because we're going to start adding grace notes and stuff to those two positions. So you want to make sure that they're clean at the beginning. And also, as you're doing the repetitions, start out really slow and then accelerate them and then bring them back down, okay? So you want to do that also while you're doing that in a full breath. The second part of the tackum that we're going to build is the E grace note to the low A. So I'm in C, E grace note, A, C, E grace note, A, C, E grace note, A, C, E grace note, A. So I find if you talk your way through the positions, your brain and your fingers sync. They get on the same page. And the other thing I would do is I would add a rhythm element. I would tap my feet. I'm going like this, left, right, left, right. So I go like this. Then the next page I have, or the next measure, I have C, D grace note, C, E grace note, A. C, D grace note, C, E grace note, A. So I'm doing it in 4 beats. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in the next measure, I'm going to add the G grace note in front of the first C. I'm still in 4 beats, still in 4/4 time. I'm going. Sometimes people, when they're playing repetitions like this, they have a hard time getting back to the G grace note on the C at the end. So what you could do, if that's an issue, because that is an issue when people are playing doublings in a lot of tunes, if they're going to leave any notes out, they're going to leave out the G grace note at the beginning of the doubling. So you could go like this. Near my feet? Okay, now the next one, I'm in the last measure on the top line, where the only thing we're doing now, we just went 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to go 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So I'm giving an abbreviated version of all of this because you should play a million repetitions of each one and master each measure. And then finally where we're ending up is 1 in, 1 in. Okay, that's a tackum. Okay, that's a C doubling tackum. The next thing in Susan MacLeod, and these are all, the tackums are all over the tune. But when you get to the third part of Susan MacLeod, you have some interesting things. So you have this burl. Okay, so you got, in order to develop that, you got to take it apart. You got to play a million of those, and then you're gonna build. Then you'll build up to. All right. Then we have a. It looks like it's really difficult, but actually, what it is, it's a G grace note on B before a grip on B. Okay, so I have an exercise 1, 2, and 3. Sorry. 1, 2, and 3. I'd play a million of those. Okay, and finally, everything in bagpipe music has a rhythmic element to it. Okay, if you want to master playing Susan MacLeod, it has a rhythmic element. I'm going to show that to you next. Okay, so this thing ends up with. So I'm playing my grip on B, then I'm playing a G grace note at the beginning of it. Pretty neat, huh? There it is right there. Okay? And then finally, we have this move that most people don't play, and unless you're playing Susan MacLeod or the Pembroke. And so with a a rhythmic element, and 2 and 3, and 2 and 3, and 2 and 3, and 2 and 3. One, 2, and 3. It's not your everyday movement. Anyway, you got to practice that a lot. Let me show you what to do with Susan MacLeod. If you watched any of my other videos, I'm an advocate about using the tune to develop technique. And if you're the only way that you do that, the technique, bagpipe technique, comes from muscle memory. It's muscle memory. And the longer you play, if you can learn to play big, slow, and open, you'll develop muscle memory. So let's say I pick out Susan MacLeod and I say, oh, I'm going to learn to play Susan MacLeod, and I pick up my chanter and I start playing through it and stuff, and maybe I'm missing it and so forth. I think after you played it 4 or 5 times on your own, then what you do is you come back up and now you're going to take it apart. Okay? So here's what I would do. The rhythm on Susan MacLeod is 1, a 2, a 3, 4, a 1, a 2, 3, 4. What I would do is I would take all of the dots and the cuts out of the piece, and I would tap my feet to the 8th note, and so I have 1 and 2E, 2E, that's my E doubling there, 1 and 2E and 3E and ba-ba-4, ba-ba-4, that's my grip, that's the grip before. 1 and 2E and 3E and ba-ba-4 and 1 and 2E and 3 and 4. 1 and 2E and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2E and 3E. See what I'm doing? Now here, listen to me play it, okay? It's not going to sound musical and stuff. We're building a house, so the house has to have the skeleton. We got to do the framing first. We got to do put the roof on. We got to do the sheathing around it and the vapor barrier and all of that kind of stuff. But the problem that some of you have is you got the moving van at the curb, and the house is only in the framing stage. Okay, so you got to take it down. You got to take it apart. So here's how you take it apart. I'm tapping my feet to the 8th note. See what I did? Now, even when you get to that, if you played all of it like that a number of times, you're playing every single note, and you're developing muscle memory. Okay, so here I'm gonna go through the third part of it, because this is the part that everybody loves the most about Susan MacLeod. Gotta turn the page over. See what I did? Now, if I play the whole tune like that a bunch of times, and I have all of the stuff in it, I've got all of the grace notes and all of the doublings, and I'm playing them nice and evenly. My doublings will eventually become even and stuff. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I'll play the second part of it this time, but this time I'm going to put the dots and the cuts back in. So it sounds like this. Alright, so I played it in 8/8. Alright, the strathspey is in 4/4 time. I'll play it in 8/8 for a while with the dots and the cuts. I'll play the whole thing. Play it just like that. Play it for a while. I'm developing this piece, remember? So I'm going to play it for a while like that so I get some good muscle memory. I keep saying muscle memory. That's what it takes. It takes years to develop technique on the bagpipe. And if you practice, of course, if you practice a lot more sooner. You know, I ask people, well, you want to be on the 2-year plan, the 5-year plan, or the 50-year plan. Hey, if you practice a lot every day, this happens a lot quicker, believe me. So anyway, so after I've played it in 8/8 with the dots and the cuts in it, then I'm going to play it in 4/4. There you go. It's a great tune. Okay, here's what I would do. I would work on the prep drills, and I would develop one measure at a time. Just one measure at a time. Master each measure through the prep drills. Don't play like 2 or 3 times and go to the next one. Master each measure. Okay, then I would go into the tune. I would go to the lowest common denominator in the tune, which is the 8th note. I would tap to the 8th note, and I would take all the dots and the cuts out, and I would play them evenly all the way through until I develop the technique. And then I would add the dots and the cuts back in 8/8, and then eventually at some point you could start trying it in 4. Okay, it takes years to develop technique. Okay, but you just have to be patient. This is a great tune. I love Susan MacLeod. And I hope you will too. I appreciate I appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, you could like it and subscribe down below. If you have any questions, call me on the phone, send me an email. I'm happy to talk to you. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great night.